it's Gina from Mojo, and today I will be going through a Chaturanga workshop. The props that you will need for today, if you have blocks, 2 blocks, otherwise a stack of books would be great. If you have a bolster, feel free to use one of these as well, otherwise you can use your blocks and or books. And then lastly, a strap or any belt that you can tighten up around your chest and your arms. So those will be our props for today. Why Chaturangas? Chaturangas are not in every practice, but they are, excuse me, they are a big part of sun salutations, where you will have that plank, you'll shift forward, you'll lower into that chaturanga, sometimes you'll hold, sometimes you'll move straight through into your up dog and press back into down dog. Now depending on teachers, some like a lot of chaturangas, some don't like as many, but odds are pretty good that you'll do at least a few. Chaturangas are very easy to do wrong. They're very easy to fly through, and so this workshop is to help you do them safely, to work on building strength to be able to do them, and to know about all the modifications that you can add in there. Say maybe you're just not feeling it and you still want to do it, but you don't want to do the full expression. Maybe your shoulders hurt, maybe your wrists hurt, maybe you're just like, I've already done like 800 of these, I don't want to. So this will flow through all the different variations and options that you have to do your chaturangas. It's very important to do your chaturangas correctly because, as I said, you can do them, it's very easy to do them improperly. Some people find themselves doing a swoop through their vinyasa, which is really hard on your shoulders because instead of stacking, lowering, and pressing, you're kind of doing this motion, which wears down your joints and is really bad for your shoulders. Not only that, but improperly placing your hands or twisting them weird is really hard on those wrist joints, which will then stress out the rest of your arm. So really making sure you have proper alignment and you're moving slowly and with control. Okay? All right. So, the other important thing is that as you do more and more chaturangas and planks, you're going to really build up that core strength and that upper body strength that will help you do more poses, that will help you through your entire yoga practice, and it'll probably just make you feel really super awesome. Okay, so let's begin with a very basic warm-up, starting with cat and cow. Shift your weight into your tabletop position, stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, nice flat spine. Spread those fingers wide. On your next inhale, lower your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, round it out. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Return to that flat spine. Stretching out our wrists. Flip your hands around so your palms are still face down. Fingertips are pointing towards your knees. Wrists are working to melt into your mat. And then gently draw yourself backwards so you feel that stretch through the underside of your forearm and through the back of your wrist. Flip your palms around so that they are face up. Fingertips are still pointing towards your knees. Wrists once again are melting into your mat. And then gently draw yourself backward so that this time you'll feel that stretch across the back of your wrist and across the tops of your hands. Release your hands. Your wrists come together and your fingers point left and right on your mat. Now for this one, this is really up to you. You can choose to have your hands really close together if that feels good, or slowly begin to press them apart. And you can choose to maybe sway from side to side. Maybe you're just pressing your wrists or your palms into your mat. But you should feel this through your whole wrist. All right, awesome. Release those hands so your fingertips are pointing back towards the top of your mat. Threading our needle, left arm reaches up towards the sky, open up. Thread your needle, draw between your right wrist, right knee. Right hand can stay planted, lengthen towards the sky, or open into a half bind. If your arm is bound or lengthened, return it towards the mat. Left arm extends, plant it back onto the ground. Right arm reaches, thread your needle. Again, left hand can choose to stay here, extend, or reach open for that half bind. Left hand comes back down, right arm reaches, and plant it back onto your mat. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips, find that first down dog. Feel free to pedal it out, reaching those heels towards the ground. Coming to stillness, take your feet a little wide, or about hip width apart. Reach your heels down towards the ground. It's okay if they don't touch. Spreading those fingers wide, press through your palms. Draw your chest closer to your thighs, and then bend those knees. Getting a deeper stretch across your shoulder blades. And then slowly lower it on down to your knees. The next part of our warm-up includes doing some planks. We'll begin with modified plank, and then we'll move into full plank, and then we'll begin to work on those chaturangas. Plank pose is really important because it gives you the setup for your chaturanga. And our plank is really important to keep that core tight, keeping that long spine, and rounding through those shoulders. So all preparatory work for chaturanga. In a modified plank, come down onto your knees. Stack those shoulders over your wrists. Brace your core so it's nice and tight. Again, press away from the ground so your shoulders start to round. Keep your gaze straight down between your hands. Sometimes it's very common for people to start to do this as they look back at their knees. Or sometimes you'll start to lower those hips down, coming to more of that cow spine. Make sure you keep it nice and long. Slowly press it back into child's pose. Keep those knees together. Stretch across those shoulder blades again. Slowly lift it back up and shift it forward into that modified plank. As you're pressing into those palms, note if you are pressing to the outsides or insides of your hand, putting too much pressure on your wrists, or if you're allowing it to be spread out evenly across your hands. Press it back into child's pose. Last time in modified plank. Draw it forward. And press it back into your child's pose. This time, lift the palms of your hands off of the mat, keeping your fingertips connected. This will help release across your traps. Palms come down, press it up into your tabletop. Now, if full plank is not in your practice, feel free to continue to work with those modified planks. If full plank is in your practice, lift up onto those toes. And let's double check with our alignment. We're pressing away from the ground, rounding through those shoulders. Bracing through your core. Now it's really important that we don't pike our hips up or again, allow them to sink down. You want to imagine that straight line from the crown of your head through your heels. Knees come down, press it back to child's pose. Lift back up, tuck your toes under, lift back into your plank. Check through those arms, check your gaze, embrace through your core. Make sure you're still breathing. I know sometimes we like to hold our breath, hoping that it will help the time pass by faster. It won't. Knees come down, press it back. Last time, press it on up. If you've been working on your modified plank and you'd like to try full plank for this last one, feel free. Lift it on up. If your wrists are starting to feel sore, check where all the pressure is in your hands. Can you feel all four corners of your palm pressing into your mat? Maybe lifting those knuckles up just a little bit. Lower on down to your knees, press it back into child's pose. This time flip your hands so that your palms are face up. All right, release, come on to those knees. Our first version of our Chaturangas, we will be, I'll show it to you against the wall. This is something that I just learned, but it's a nice, safe, and easy way to feel where that alignment is without pressing against the ground, pressing against your hands, irritating any of those joints. So find some wall space. I'm going to fix this here. Come up nice and close to your wall. Your hands should be at your chest. Elbows are tucked in nice and tight. Your elbows are about 90 degrees. And draw yourself close to that wall. And just get a feel for how that is nice and tight. Press into your body. And pressing away from your wall. Awesome. All right, so now we will get to our props. First, using our blocks, or if you have books like me, we'll be placing our books or blocks right where our shoulders will come down. So you might need to kind of play with how close your props are. Get that back. Okay. And we'll also be starting on our knees as well. So we won't be going to a full plank to Chaturanga. We'll start on those knees. So find your modified plank. Hands come to the outsides of your props. Find your plank position. And then slowly begin to lower yourself down until you feel your shoulders resting on top of your props. So this will also help you get a feel for how close you should be to the ground. Pressing through your hands, lift yourself up. Press it back into child's pose for just a few breaths. Lift back up into that modified plank. Oh, the most important thing, I can't believe I forgot this. For your Chaturanga, you don't simply come from plank and move down like a push-up. For your Chaturanga, you'll shift yourself forward so that your wrists are over your fingertips, and then you will lower yourself on down. You want your elbows pressing straight back. Press into your hands, lift yourself up, bring it back to child's pose. Lift up into your plank. All right, so let's set ourselves up here into that plank position on your knees. Brace through your core. Make sure your spine is nice and long. We're rounding through those shoulders. Next, shift yourself forward, so shoulders over fingertips. Slowly lower it on down to feel your shoulders on top of those books, and hold. Press through those hands, lift it on up, press back, child's pose. Bring yourself up. If you feel comfortable and confident, push your props off to the side. If you would like to try it without your props. If you want to try it a few more times with the props, feel free. So once again, find your modified plank. Find engagement through your body, through that core. Pressing through your hands, shift yourself forward. Lower it on down so that your elbows are making 90-degree angles. Everything is pressed in tight towards your ribs. Press through your hands. Press it back, child's pose. Lift it up into that plank. Gaze is still straight down. Shift yourself forward. Lower it on down. Now you don't have to come to exactly 90 degrees. If you're still kind of up here, that's totally fine as you're making your way, finding that strength. We just don't want you to be here. Really keeping it nice and even. Press yourself up, back to child's pose. Last time, shift yourself forward. Find your plank. Shift yourself forward. Lower it on down to that 90 degrees or where you feel comfortable. Distribute that weight equally across your palms. Then press it up to up dog. And then bring it back to child's pose. Allow those knees to go wide. Toes come together. Palms press against each other and then draw your wrists over your neck. Release your arms down to the mat and draw yourself up. The next prop that we will be using is the strap. So a strap or a belt. If you have your strap, we'll loop it through. And then make sure you leave it wide enough so that you can wrap it around your arms and your chest. So we're about bust line or so. And then pull it nice and tight to where you can't necessarily like fling your arms out. So you want to keep it nice and tight and everything tucked in. Okay. From here, once again, come into that modified plank, keeping your arms nice and close. Shift yourself forward, lower it on down to your chaturanga, and try not to move your straps by opening them up. So we really want to avoid your elbows winging out, but keeping everything centered. Press into your up dog here, and press back into your child's pose. The strap will probably shift. If you're like me, it's over your neck right now. Bring it back into your tabletop. Readjust your strap. Or if you have a better strap, I don't know. I have a cheapy one. Alright, so once again, come down into that modified plank. Shift your weight forward. Lower it on down into your chaturanga. Press to up dog. And back to down, not down dog, child's pose. All right, last time with the strap. Bring it around those shoulders. If you have to tighten it up a little bit, press your hands into your mat. Modified plank. Shift your weight forward. Lower it on down to your chaturanga. Press to up dog. Return to child's pose. This time, take your strap, move it off to the side. Move into tabletop, keeping your hips over knees. And then walk your arms out until forehead, chest, or chin come to the ground in puppy pose. Slowly walk yourself up. Okay, so those are the ways that you can do chaturangas with the props. If you like to use it with your blocks or with a strap, and you can always do it on your knees. So a vinyasa with that modified chaturanga will look like this. From your down dog, coming coming down onto your knees to modified plank. Shifting it forward, lowering it down to where you're comfortable, working not to get lower than that 90 degrees. Press to up dog, and return to down dog. So let's try a few of those with the modified version of Chaturanga. Come into your down dog. Lower on down to your knees for modified plank. Check in with your core. Is your core nice and tight? Are you looking straight down between your hands? Shift it forward. Lower it on down with control. Press into up dog. And return to down dog. Something we really want to avoid here, something that is occasionally seen depending on how fast you're going. Some people like to start here, go here, and then swoop through. So they're not really stopping at any of these points, but instead shifting forward and then just swooping through their shoulders. Really make sure as you come down into that modified plank, purposely shift yourself forward, slowly lower it on down. Press through palms, lift to up dog, and return to down dog. All right, let's come down onto our knees and let's begin to work on the full expression of your Chaturanga. Full expression of Chaturanga, we'll do the same thing with the blocks and the straps. Actually, maybe not with the straps, but with, if you have a bolster, or we can still use the books. We will set it up the same way. Those books will come towards the top of your mat. Hands will place on the outside and make your way into that full plank. All right, pressing away from the ground, rounding through your shoulders. Gaze is straight down, bracing through your core. Pressing through your heels. Now, what's a little bit different with the full expression is you want to make sure as you press yourself forward, so from here, press yourself forward. You see how my feet start to kind of arch forward, so I'm pressing through my toes to get my shoulders over my hands. Keeping everything stacked and everything tight, slowly lowering it on down. Once again, your chest, your shoulders may come down towards those books and holding here. Gently lower your knees down, pressing to up dog, and return to child's pose. Make your way back into your plank. Spread those fingers wide. Shift it forward. Press through your feet, through those toes. Lower it on down with control. My books have shifted, or I shifted. Knees come down. Press to up dog. And child's pose. Last time, bring it back into your plank. Shift yourself forward. Stop at the top here. Slowly lower it on down. Knees come down, press to up dog, and back to down dog. Take your right arm, thread it underneath your body, left ear comes to the mat. Release that right arm. Left arm threads underneath your body. Right ear comes to mat. Left arm releases. And slowly draw it back to center. Props move off to the side. Unless you do not have a bolster, then keep at least one block or a couple sets of books on your mat. Our bolster we'll use for the same effect. Except this time that bolster will come straight underneath your torso. So instead of resting your shoulders on it, we'll use it to just gently lay our torso down on or allow it to hover over. Excuse me. So using your blocks or your books to kind of prop it underneath your torso at whatever height you would like, or probably the same height, so probably 2 books high. And we'll place your props in the center of your mat. Hands come to either side. Press yourself up into your plank position. Checking with that body, making sure your hips aren't coming straight up like down dog or sinking down towards the ground, putting stress on that low back. Keeping everything nice and tight. Rounding through your shoulders, gaze is straight down. Hold. Shift yourself forward, press through those toes. Lower it on down. You might feel your chest begin to press into your mat, or not mat, into your props. Press into up dog. Return to down dog. Walk yourself into your plank. Shift forward. Lower down to your Chaturanga. Press to up dog. And back to down dog. Let's try it one more time with the prop. Lengthen out into your plank. Shift it forward. Lower it down. Up dog. And down dog. Lower on down to your knees. Props move off to the side. And let's practice the whole Chaturanga from a full plank position. Once again, if you're still working with that modified plank, feel free to stay on your knees. Or any variation. If you're like, I don't feel quite comfortable there, keep working with where you are comfortable. Don't push yourself to go further than you are ready. All right, pressing into those hands, making your way into plank or your modified plank. Engage through your core. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed across your palms. Fingers are wide. Shift it forward. Lower down to 90 degrees. Toes come down flat. Press to up dog. And back to down dog. All right, let's come down onto our knees. There are a few different ways in which we use Chaturanga outside of straight up vinyasas. And some of the ones that you will see or hear are jumping back straight into Chaturanga or crow to Chaturanga. When you were in your sun salutation and you move from your forward fold to plank, you will hear a lot of teachers tell you to land directly in Chaturanga arms. If you try to jump back into plank, that is really going to hurt through your shoulders, and it's going to be jarring for your arms. And so what that will look like, if you have not seen it or practiced it before, is you'll be starting from your mountain, arms will reach up high, folding it forward. Half lift, plant your hands. From here, a lot of people will simply step back into their plank. Some people will jump back, and there I did it wrong, I should have come into my Chaturanga. And so what you will want to do if you are going to jump back, press your hands into the mat. As you shoot your legs back, bend through your elbows, and you'll land with your arms bent like this. And you'll be able to finish out your vinyasa. And so a full vinyasa with the jump back. Mountain, forward fold, half lift, plant your hands. If you jump it back, right into Chaturanga, press to up dog, and down dog. The other version that is less common, occasionally I'll do it because I know that people like to tinker and have fun, is moving from crow to Chaturanga. Or I have seen some people move from baby crow to Chaturanga. And that's simply moving from your arm balance pose, and once again shooting those legs out, catching yourself in that Chaturanga position. I'm going to move my mat. And if that is something that you would ever like to practice in the studio or somewhere where you feel safe and have a lot of room, feel free. Otherwise, you can always use your props that you use for your crow pose to help catch through those shoulders. Or, you can use as many or as few props that you feel comfortable with. So once again, our crow pose, I like to start with my heels together, palms facing in front, squeezing my biceps with my knees. My gaze is 6 inches in front of my fingertips. Start to lean it forward. I lift my toes off of the ground, find my balance, shoot it back, holding it, catching myself low on the ground, pressing up, and finishing in down dog. Baby crow to Chaturanga is not my practice, but I have seen it done before. So those are some of the other ways you can use Chaturanga. Those are the modifications. Those are the props you can use to help build your strength. The nice thing about plank and Chaturangas is that they are such a good workout and conditioner for that core, for your arms, for your whole upper body. Some of the other ways you might see Chaturangas used is in a version of push-ups. I remember the first time this happened to me, I was like, what? Why? The important thing about that one that I've discovered is sometimes as you come low from your Chaturanga and you're pressing up, your shoulders, your whole body's going to want to fight and be like, I don't like this. So if you ever do Chaturanga push-ups, it's the same thing. You'll shift yourself forward, lower yourself down. Sometimes you'll have to hold. As you hold here, then simply press yourself straight back up. Sometimes I move back into plank so that I'm not holding this for a long time because then I feel my hips start to sink low. So those Chaturanga push-ups, shift forward, lower it down, occasionally hold, press back up, and then I shift back to plank. But other than that, that is about what I have. Oh, I have this written down even. Let's move through a few sun salutations using our Chaturangas. If you would like to use the modified version or the full version, if you would like to play with that jump back to Chaturanga, totally up to you. We will run through 3 sun A salutations, and then we'll stretch everything out. Okay. Not sure if this is going to get all of me, but standing up nice and tall in your mountain pose. Reach your arms nice and high. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back to plank. If you step back to plank. If you jump back to your Chaturanga. If you step back, shift it forward. Lower Chaturanga. Press the tops of your toes into the ground. Lift to up dog. And press to down dog. Take a few deep breaths in your down dog. Maybe feeling free to bend through your knees. Find some extra stretch across your shoulder blades. Look forward, step or float your feet behind your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Palms connect, draw down to heart. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Once again, if you're stepping back, step back to plank. If you're jumping back, jump back into your Chaturanga. If you're still in plank, shift it forward. Lower Chaturanga. Press to up dog. And down dog. Look forward, step or float your feet behind your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Palms connect, draw down to heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands. If you're doing the modified version, you can step it back to plank and then draw down onto your knees. Everyone from their plank position, shift it forward, lower Chaturanga, press to up dog, and return to down dog. Slowly lower down to your knees. Come down onto your seat. And we'll stretch those arms and wrists and shoulders and all that good stuff out. Sitting up nice and tall, reach those arms out wide into a T. Give yourself a hug. That left arm comes underneath. Elbows connect, stacking on top. You can either choose to connect those hands or reach for opposite shoulders. Inhale through your spine. Exhale, draw everything through center. You should feel that nice stretch and pull across your shoulder blades. Slowly return to center. Open those arms out wide into a T. Give yourself a hug. Right arm comes underneath. Elbows connect. And once again, either palms together or reach for opposite or shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Draw through center. Inhale through center. Exhale. Open those arms out wide into a T. Can't remember if you already exhaled. Bring those arms up nice and tall. Take that left wrist in your right hand. Inhale through spine. Exhale. Slowly draw it over to the right. Keeping your sit bones connected to the ground. Return through center. Take that right wrist in your left hand. Inhale. Exhale, draw it over to the left. Return through center. Release those hands. Cactus those arms. Lift your chest up towards the sky. Baby back bend. Release your hands down towards the mat. Interlace your hands behind your back. Sit it nice and tall. Inhale through spine. Exhale. Start to fold yourself forward, reaching those knuckles up and over. Draw back through center. Release those hands. Begin to rotate your wrists to the outsides. And then towards the inside. Plant your hands down in front of you. And slowly walk yourself forward, keeping your sit bones connected to the ground. Draw your chin to chest. Walk your arms over to the left. And walk them over to the right. Return through center. Make your way into that tabletop position. Once again, keep hips stacked over knees. Walk your arms out until forehead, chest, or chin come to the mat in playful puppy. Slowly shift yourself back into that tabletop. Lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Open your arms out wide into a T. Bend your left knee. Draw left hand in close towards your chest. Roll onto that right shoulder, planting your left foot behind your right leg. That left hand can choose to stay on the ground. Maybe reach it up towards the sky, or open into a half bind. Stretching to the inside or the front side of that right shoulder. Cross your shoulder blades. Left hand comes up, reaches back down, roll over onto that belly. Left arm goes long, right hand comes in towards your chest. Bend your right knee, left ear comes to mat as you roll over onto that left shoulder. Again, right hand can choose to stay planted, lengthen, or open into a half vine. Right hand comes back down, roll over onto your belly, plant your forearms into the ground, and lift up into Sphinx pose. Press into your palms, lengthen those arms and seal. And then press it back into your child's pose. Allow it to be a wider one with your big toes connecting, knees open wide. Reach your arms long in front. Draw your sit bones closer to your heels. Fingertips reaching towards the top of your mat. And then slowly make your way back onto your seat. Sit up nice and tall. Bend your knees, reach your arms long out in front. And inhale, roll them down one vertebrae at a time. Knees come up 90 degrees, arms open up wide into a T. Allow your knees to draw to the left. Gaze over that right shoulder, nice easy twist. Come up through center. Knees draw over to the right. Gaze over that left shoulder. Knees come up through center. Hug them in nice and tight. Rock from side to side. Return to center. Give yourself the biggest hug you'll get for the rest of the day. Squeeze it all nice and tight. And then slowly draw yourself up to sitting. Sit it nice and tall. Reach those arms up overhead. Palms connect. Draw down to heart center. Take a moment here to close your eyes. Feel your entire body relax. Take one big inhale. And open mouth exhale. Alright, thanks for taking this Chaturanga workshop. I hope you learned some new stuff and you found new things that will help work to make you stronger, better, awesomer, all that good stuff. Alright, thanks. Bye.